Have you ever worked your heart out for someone who didn't value you? The kind of boss who smiles when you stay late, but forgets your name during bonus season? Well, this is the story of how I turned my boss's arrogance into my biggest career win, and made triple his salary at a rival company, all while he was still sitting behind that same desk. If you've ever been underpaid, overlooked, or disrespected at work, hit that like button. Because this one's for every person who gave their best, and finally decided they'd had enough. Now sit back, this is one of the most satisfying acts of professional revenge you'll ever hear. I used to believe that hard work was everything. That if you showed up early, stayed late, and went the extra mile, people would notice. They'd reward you. They'd promote you. I learned, painfully, that some people will notice your hard work, just to take advantage of it. For 4 years, I gave them everything. Late nights, weekends, cross-country trips, nights away from my family. Every time there was a new project, I volunteered. Every time something went wrong, I fixed it. My reward? A 3% raise every year. 3%. That's like a thank you card with no signature. The breakthrough opportunity. After 4 years of grinding in the same position, I started asking questions. What's next for me? When do I move up? That's when my manager, let's call him Rick, said, "Well, we're thinking of putting you on the management track. You can prove yourself as a project engineer." Finally, a chance. A real opportunity. I took it. Suddenly, I was managing 4 engineers, a designer, and 2 admins. We were given a new system to design, something that could bring in real money if we got it right. So I worked like my life depended on it. Hundreds of hours. Nights at the lab. Days on the road. And it paid off. Our team didn't just meet expectations, we blew them away. The system made $1.6 million in sales its first year. We got the company a patent. We were even nominated by the US Air Force as finalists for Contractor Technical Team of the Year. They flew us to DC for an award ceremony. My family was so proud. I felt unstoppable. The insult. When performance reviews came around, I got a 10 out of 10. A perfect score. I thought, this is it. The promotion, the raise, the recognition I earned. And then, I saw the numbers. 3%. Again. Same as before. No promotion. No bonus. No acknowledgement beyond a handshake and a good job, champ. To make it worse, one of my own team members, who reported to someone else, got promoted early to senior engineer. I stared at that email in disbelief. My chest tightened. I felt that familiar heat rising from my neck, the silent kind of anger that you can't show. I set up a meeting with Rick the next morning. The confrontation. He sat across from me in his usual smug posture, leaning back, hands folded, fake sympathetic smile. "Hey, I saw your review," he said. "Phenomenal work this year." I asked why I wasn't promoted, why someone from my own team had been moved up instead. Rick shrugged. "Well," he said, "I didn't think they deserved that promotion, but I wasn't their manager, so..." He trailed off like it was supposed to make sense. "So, what about me?" I asked, trying to keep my voice even. "Look," he said, "you're doing great. Just keep it up and let's revisit this next year." Next year. After everything I had done, every hour I'd sacrificed, every moment away from my family. That was my reward. Maybe next year. Something broke inside me that day. I smiled, nodded, shook his hand. Then I walked out of that office and decided something quietly, powerfully, permanently. They'd never get another drop of extra effort out of me again. The quiet quitting phase. From that day on, I worked exactly 40 hours a week. No more late nights. No more urgent travel. No more skipping lunch to finish reports. I used every single sick day, every vacation hour, every Friday I could. And for the first time in years, I started sleeping again. I stopped trying to impress people who didn't care. But I wasn't done. Because while I was coasting through my weeks, I noticed something. Our department had a budget for education and training. It was rarely used. And unlike the company's MBA reimbursement program, which came with strings attached, like a multi-year stay requirement, the software training program had no such stipulations. That's when the idea hit me. If they weren't going to invest in me, I'd use their money to prepare my escape. The plan. A colleague of mine, the same guy who got the early promotion, had started taking company-sponsored MBA classes. He was a good friend, and I didn't blame him for what happened. We often grabbed lunch and vented about the system together. One afternoon, I said, "Hey, they're paying for your MBA, right? You know about the training fund they have?" He raised an eyebrow. "You mean the one no one uses?" "Yeah," I said. "Apparently, we can use it for software courses too." A week later, we both enrolled in advanced FEA, finite element analysis, and 3D modeling classes. The kind of stuff high-paying companies love to see on a resume. We traveled to different cities for the classes, all expenses paid by the company. Flights, hotels, per diem, everything. On paper, I was upskilling for future projects. In reality, I was arming myself for the exit. The breaking point. A month after the training, I quietly started applying for new jobs. I didn't tell anyone, not my boss, not even my wife at first. I just wanted to see if all this effort would actually mean something out there. Within weeks, I started getting callbacks. Real interest. Real offers. Then came the one. A rival company, smaller, more agile, hungrier, offered me a position. Base salary, 200% of my current one. Overtime, paid hourly. Benefits, better across the board. I was stunned. And for the first time in years, I felt seen. I signed the offer letter that night. The resignation. The next morning, I walked into Rick's office with a smile. He looked up, confused. "Morning. What's up?" I placed the envelope on his desk. My 2 weeks' notice. His face went pale. "Wait, what? You're quitting?" "Yeah," I said calmly. "I've accepted another offer." He looked at me like I'd just told him his car exploded. "But, we just paid for all your training. You can't leave now." "Sure I can," I said. "There was no retention clause." He stammered, "Don't you feel any loyalty? Any guilt?" I almost laughed. "Loyalty goes both ways, Rick. You remember that." He frowned. "How much are they paying you? Maybe we can match it." I told him the number. He froze, blinked twice, then muttered, "That's more than I make." I smiled. "Yeah, that's kind of the point." The aftermath, sweet payback. The following weeks were glorious. Everyone in my department heard the news. The guy who built their $1 million system was leaving to make triple his boss's salary. I didn't brag. I didn't need to. The silence that followed me down the hallway said it all. After I left, I started my new job. The difference was night and day. Respect. Freedom. Recognition. I was finally being treated like a professional, not a pawn. And you know what the best part was? A few months later, a former coworker texted me, "Dude, your old project's falling apart. No one knows how to run the system you built." Rick had to personally take over.